So why is the thought of having no free will terrifying to most people, or at the very least disconcerting? The answer might seem obvious to the reader. Most conclude that with no free will, ethics and morals would be meaningless, and it would not be justifiable to hold anyone accountable for their actions. Most think that to truly accept the notion of having no free will would inevitably lead to feeling locked in as if merely going through predetermined actions like a pre-programmed robot. What I and a large growing number of others conclude is that the previously described thought process is backwards. In a deterministic world, ethics and morals are absolutely meaningful, and without them, we would have surely perished long ago. The deterministic machinery is on a level that is far removed from our daily conscious perception. A person needs not question their sense of morals at the moment of realization that we live in a deterministic world, any more than one fears falling through furniture when they learn that atoms are mostly empty space, right? So it's just a totally different level. The scientific mind will want to define terms before further exploration, but unfortunately I cannot offer a definition to free will any more than I can offer one for God. But what we can do is clarify some semantics. Determinists do use the word choice, and we do use the word will to describe human actions, just not free choice or free will. So in our daily lives, both free willers and determinists use the same language. We both speak of making choices and decisions and wishing for things, etc. People don't speak of free choices or free will in our day-to-day language, other than in a philosophical or a political discussion. The semantics problem only comes into play when entering a discussion on the true nature of a human mind on a fundamental level. On a fundamental level, a determinist sees willing as merely describing the current state of a person's thoughts, where they currently feel a need for something. They see choice as a computation, or a set of computations. While it may sound like robotic terminology, it's only that a determinist finds the idea of free agent outside the causal laws of physics to be equally as redundant and paradoxical as God or magic. A determinist has no idea what free could possibly be. We clearly need to explore what the free and free will can be defined as, if anything. There's no denying that our brain functions play a large part in our willing, and that its processes are unfathomably complex. Our brain consists of anywhere from 100 to 2 billion neurons connected by 100 to 5 trillion synapses. A trillion is 1,000 billion! It's an inside joke. A thought is the result of a causal chain where the origin is not an outside agent of free will that interjects from time to time, but rather it's a continuum of the same universal causal chain that emerged into existence sometime after the Big Bang. It's all one thing, right? Every action, including our neuron activity, is part of the same universal causal chain. All actions of all beings and all things are connected and reacting in a perfect causal harmony. This is the conclusion a determinist must come to when taking their views to the logical extreme. While a determinist can appreciate the dynamics of individuality and cooperation in society, and generally finds little disagreement on this topmost level, a determinist understands and easily reconciles that on a deeper level, we are all one. A free willer, rather, believes we are completely separate from each other on a fundamental level, being animated as singular units with our own individual free will, or perhaps our own separate souls. So, did you get the distinction there? Whatever this soul is, or agent of free will, determinists often say agent of free will because they have no idea what a free will person is talking about. They believe that each of us has our own. We have our own soul. When we die, it floats up, goes away, whatever it does after that. But it's separate. And then, of course, in our daily lives, we interact and talk to each other and all the good things that we do. But a determinist, who we often get confused with evil robots, we actually believe that everyone is together. This is us at the bottommost level. We're all one at the bottommost level. But our brains are black holes. And that's, you know, I'm not doing this right. Then we become individuals. And then up here we interact again. But on the bottommost level, we're all, it's a terrible drawing. So are there any questions about that?
Yes.
Did I get you riled up yet?
No, not riled. What we believe is that we have free will and that we're interconnected. And that's something that we're taught from birth, that everyone's interconnected.
But
Even if you
interconnected
don't
on
wanna
what
be,
level?
On all levels. Even if you don't want to be. Even on the molecular level, there is a sameness when we get down to quarks and things and that light that's so elusive. Every cell has it, and that on the most basic level, way down there, is the same in everyone. A lot of people who believe in free will are not even aware of that level. But there's in that also, you use the word soul, we say spirit, it's the same difference. And that vibration of energy is so high that is also interconnected.
A person who believes in free will has to believe that there's something extra that's outside of the causal chain and laws of physics, etc. Right?
Perhaps.
Because if it was just part of the laws of physics and the causal chain, why differentiate?
I think sometimes what happens with human beings is we tend to get caught up in all these wonderful words that we
Oh yeah, I talk about that a lot.
Just tying to the
Issue of semantics.
Yes.
quantum entanglement as well.
Quantum entanglement, that's good.
If you talk at the macro level, at the people's level, is that like destiny or something?
Is it what?
What is it? Destiny? You know, like, I mean, you are putting here, you don't have free will. You have or you don't?
Destiny.
Destiny.
Is your free will? Is there such a thing as?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
another-
what is it?
So I'll just continue reading then, because I'll answer you as I go.
All right.
That's all stuff I talk about for sure. Here's my question to you, because I'm actually not clear on this, and I'm not sure what I want to say about it. But we feel like we emanate from our heads, right? Like your sense of self really doesn't come from our knees or our feet. It's up here, and maybe that. You could say, oh, it's obvious, our eyes and our ears and our mouth and our nose, and most of our sensory organs are on our head. But we do have our sense of touch, and, you know, we can feel temperature and pheromones and all that good stuff. Our whole body really is a sensory organ. So it's not just up here, but maybe that's part of it. But does anyone have any ideas why, what is the real reason? Why are we, because, for
I
instance,
think it's because you can remove everything except your brain and still be a living person.
still be a living
Like
person.
I could take your eyes out, you're still a person. You could take your ears off, you're still a person. You could amputate basically everything and still be a person. At the point where you've destroyed the brain, you cease to exist.
You can remove all your limbs. You can even add stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure when
Remove,
I'm
add,
driving my
delete,
car,
update.
there's a part of me that just assumes that's part of my body now. I got used to the size of it by now. The car is my new body. Pretty sure we could take off our limbs and just be a giant robot.
Right.
We could eventually feel normal again. And we'd still be coming out of here. This is like our sense
Right.
of self is in here.
Yeah, inside the brain. Because if you
So-
destroy the brain, you no longer exist.
I think you're right. It's less a part of the fact that it's our eyes and nose and mouth, and it's more something to do with our brain.
Yep.
The weird black hole phenomenon.
The observer.
Huh?
The observer.
Yeah. You know, like if we made artificial eyes and had them way out on a pole, would we feel like we were out there? See, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, because it's an
I
electrical
think we
signal.
still might feel like we're
It's
here.
still electrical signals in your brain. You know, so it depends what the electrical signals are telling the brain.
Maybe.
You know.
Perhaps,
Maybe you're now part of the pole too.
yes, perhaps in both
Yeah,
places.
the
The
pole's
pole
part
would
of
feel
you
like
now.
part of you. What if we put all our sensory organs like across the street?
Like,
Would we
that's-
feel like we're over there, or would we still feel like we're
Perhaps in both
Like-
places.
like that's what,
places?
you know, like virtual reality and when they were trying to do all that stuff where you can live like a second life in the computer, you know, you have your avatar
That's true.
and all that stuff. They tried that a couple of years ago and it never really worked out very well.
Second
people
life,
couldn't-
is that what that's
yeah,
called?
second
on
life. People couldn't get
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, I have a little character I've gone on there a few
Avatars,
times,
yeah.
and you're right. You do, or any video game, You do? Even when I'm playing centipedes, I feel like I'm that thing on the screen. Right?
But temporarily,
Temporarily.
yes.
For some people.
Well,
So this is my question. I really don't know. I don't know what I'm going to end up saying about that. It's an interesting question.
Well, the brain doesn't really differentiate between what the eyes see and what it thinks about. If you think about the same
It's the same
object and
thing,
look
yeah.
at the same object, the same exact synapses in your brain fire.
I've read about that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what conclusion that really leads to, like whether. Good stuff. Okay, so let me just keep reading, and hopefully I can answer some of those other questions.